This is Khatt Chronicles, design stories from the Arab world, presented to you in collaboration with Afikra.
My name is Yasmine Taan, and I have with me today Dima Nachawi, who is a visual storyteller, but also a clown. I would like to hear more about this in a bit. She is from Syria. Her work focuses on documenting Syria's untold stories, highlighting the resilience of its people. In her work, she advocates for women's rights, social justice, and freedom. She was recognized as one of the BBC 100 Women in 2018. Her artwork has been showcased globally. Dima also creates animations and shadow puppetry, addressing themes of migration, connecting to home, and resistance in the stories of former detainees and their families, mostly in Syria. She holds a master's degree in art and cultural management from King's College London. I am delighted to speak with Dima today. Hi, Dima.
Hi, Yasmine.
It's been a while since we have last spoken. I remember we started speaking when we had this project, the book that just came out, revealing, recording, reflecting, and Dima's work in it is in it. And this is how I was introduced to the wonderful illustrations and the activism that Dima is very much a part of. So Dima, are you in Syria? You're in Beirut?
I am in Beirut, but now I can go back and forth to Syria every now and then.
Yeah, before the podcast, I was asking Dima how active she was, because we've been through the war in Beirut. Were you in Beirut during the war?
Yes, most of the time I went 3 weeks only to Jordan, but then I came back with, I want to go back home. And I felt like I want to be in Lebanon with my husband and just home.
Yeah. So you went back home.
I'm in Lebanon at that time because Syria is not an option. I came back to Beirut and I felt I want to go back to my house and be with my husband, and no matter what's going on, I'm gonna stay.
Definitely. Let's start with the first question. So when and why did you decide to become a storyteller, a visual storyteller?
I remember that I started to have this dream of being an animator at the age of 15 because I really loved cartoons. And basically, I did some courses and stuff, and when I finished the high school, I applied for the art faculty in Damascus, but it didn't work because I didn't have WASTA. So I still. But it went well. It had a lot of influence to my art now because I had this social studies and political studies. But I continued. I pursued on my dream by working at animation company for 5 years at that time, like working on studies at the same time. Then I changed to work as a social worker at UNHCR until in 2015, I decided that I'm gonna only be a freelance artist, and working on trying a lot of stuff made me feel that I not only want to draw illustrations, but also I want to try to go deep in shadow puppets and storytelling. So I became a visual artist and a storyteller as well.
Yeah, interesting, exciting. Listen, so you actually do the puppets. You actually produce them. You actually design them.
I did one project called the Story of Najud, which I wrote the story.
Yeah, this is. I wanted to ask you. So when you say you're a storyteller, you do write the story. You actually write the story and illustrate it and produce the puppets to somehow enact the story.
And
performance, of course, the clown. You're going to tell us more about it in a bit.
So yeah, this was on 2021. and I wrote the stories, and it was inspired by drawings by children in the camps in the car. And then I made this with my friend, which is very small, that can be packed in a small car. And I toured all over Lebanon with the performance. And yeah, it is a mix of storytelling and shadow puppetry and live singing and live drawing. And it's cute and like can't do it.
Amazing. Can you tell us a bit about your audience? So you're doing the tour around Lebanon, was it? Lebanon? يعني in the Bekaa
Yeah.
in Lebanon. And so the audience are children mostly, or the community in the villages?
Yeah, children and families, because like it says it has many symbols that adults can understand, but also children can enjoy, the puppets and the movement and the visual representation in the set. And I toured in Bekaa, I went to Hermel, Trablus, also to Ceuta and Beirut.
And
And
these events are usually in the streets, in the public space, or in theaters, or how do you organize these?
it can work for both. I can perform in a very small room. So, once we had the performance in Persian Barrage School in a very small classroom. And we had the performance as well in Esprit Libre. I don't know if I'm Esprit Libre.
So these are mostly one women show.
Yeah, it is. Because I'm the only performer. So yeah.
Do you record them? Do these appear online through, I don't know, social media or?
I have like small parts, but not the full performance. I think I have it recorded fully, but I'm not publishing it yet.
Yeah,
because I'm still like it is still available to tour, and maybe I will tour in Syria now with it, like in spring or.
Nice. Yeah. So, what inspired you along your professional experience?
The stories of people mostly, and the events that happened in Syria, because it was very overwhelming to see what is going on and not being able to do anything about it. So I used art to express my own feelings, and it's also at being a part of documenting and archiving main events happening in Syria and Lebanon sometimes, and in Palestine. All revolves around human rights.
Definitely. So, do you want to tell us more about your illustrations, Dima?
So my illustrations are basically black and white with a lot of details, and these details are basically what makes me feel make me in ease and help me to release tensions. There is always like woman as a strong figure in the illustrations, because maybe I'm representing myself, maybe I'm representing a lot of women around me who proved to be leaders along the way from starting the revolution and onward in the war. And also because I see Syria as a woman. Sometimes I give this, masculine or female, aspects to the cities I encounter or I want to represent. So Beirut for me is woman, and Syria as well. Lebanon is a guy, just to give them some characters. And the hair is one of the main elements that you can see. It's always flying and widely and freely. It is freedom. It is strength. Recently, and because I'm so inspired by Miyazaki, I added more natural elements to the illustration. So women are rooted as trees and their hair as leaves. And also I'm following on the animals that we have in the region in Syria and Lebanon, like the Syrian bear and the owl and Shami goat. So those are yeah, those are animals that might be not existed anymore, but they are part of our culture and our memory.
Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating talking about the content of your illustrations and talking about the way you represent women. Women is the main subject in your illustrations, I can see. But Kameen, the way you represent these women in your illustration is really interesting. And the stories that you tell, they're not stories, they don't look like stories about happy women, if I may say. Maybe you want to reflect on that a bit. I mean, of course, the consequences that they have lived, the context is not helping. But again, let's define happiness and how do we, how can we illustrate happiness or.
Yeah, I mean, I think because drawing these women are within very difficult context, but I wanted to show them as strong as they are, as they truly are. I remember once in the 7th anniversary of the Syrian Revolution, there is a woman who inspired me with her quotes. Her name is Bayari Khan. She was in Ghouta while the invasion of the regime, the Assad government, to the area. So the civilians were stuck between the fighting and the bombing, and they were at risk to be killed in a big genocide. And she was like, "Don't stop talking about us. It is like we are in a whale, and we just need people to be with us. Look at us in the whale while calling for help." So I drew a woman that is in a whale, and she's sending stars, because for me those women were sending stars to the sky, the stars that can guide people and next generations to what they did. They were strong, they were vocal, they wanted to they were calling for dignity and freedom for their people in a very, very difficult situation. So yes, they are, I don't know if they are happy or not, but they are strong. That's what I know.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're asked about your profession, how do you explain it in layman terms? When someone in the street asks you, what do you do? How would you explain?
Yani, visual storyteller means like I represent what I see and what I feel in stories, in illustrated stories, and also I make either text stories or visual stories of those events. So I am a storyteller, and I use multiple mediums to make my story seen and heard.
Yeah. So what is the project you are most proud of?
I think that the last illustration I drew like 15 days after the fall of the regime. It was inspired by the moment that a decade of the rule of the Assad is finally ended. But also it is about like having the faith to work for the next step. In Arabic, it's called al-Mubtada al-Ardu lana. In English, it's called the land is ours, and I see it in, it's not only representing Syria and what's going on now in Syria. It's also represent Lebanon and Palestine, because we are under a massive aggression by the Israelis, and I feel that fighting for our land, whether it is against the Israeli enemy, or also like to fight for our land in a peaceful way, to claim for our rights now in like collaborating with the new government, or standing against it peacefully to claim for our rights, is basically because the land is ours, and we must feel this, and we must feel that we have agency on our lands, and not believing, because now saying everything is happening by the decision made by Westerns and the power and international powers. But I was questioning whether we have agency on what we want or not, on keeping our lands. And I would prefer to believe that we have agency and the land is ours, because we're not going to leave it easily. We're going to fight for it and to stay in it and try as much as to make it livable and make sure that it's going to be a better future for our children. Therefore, I love this illustration. It is a good reminder, and maybe it's a good inspiration for others as well.
Definitely. Do you think that your illustrations can make a change? I mean, I think this is like a bit of a naive question, but let's try to think together. I mean, do you think that, when an artist expresses herself on paper and an audience sees it, I don't know, what do you think? How do you think your work affects your viewers, your followers?
I know that many of them, it put a smile on their faces.
Yeah.
And
that's good enough. That's good enough, thinking these days.
Yeah, it puts, and it gives them like the feel of representation at a certain point that I'm like, translating with the art, with the drawings, what they want to say. Because this is what I'm good at. Like, I'm not, I can't write. And I did once write an article, but it's not like my best thing to do. So I'm translating ideas into visuals, and maybe those are the ideas of many. Also, I care for the coming, like for the next generations, because if they want to know what's happened in Syria, they can see some visuals that tells them about love stories and both while the besieged, and maybe they can see how the resort was with the hanged bridge that they have once, and maybe they want to rebuild it. So these are, maybe they are a contribution to the cultural memory, and the cultural memory that we want to be for a country that have agency, a people that have agency. So I'm drawing some memories in a nice way, so they can keep it in mind, and maybe it will be our true reality.
Yeah, with this hope in mind. Tab, what is the project you felt got you the most recognition for? And I'm waiting for the client to come out. Tell us more about Dima Clown.
I'm a clown since 2014, so I joined a workshop with Clown Me In, and it's not a commercial clowning. It is social clowning and theater, street theater. And it helped a lot because it helped me to be more free in expressing myself and looking at in the eye and the people after I was like super traumatized because what happened in Syria and because of the oppression I lived all my life with under. So clowning helped me a lot to realize that my weakness are something that I can build on and be proud of. To be went with a clown to places in Lebanon, and we toured around Lebanon to places that are never, I wouldn't visit them if I was alone, because they are far or because they are kind of excluded from arts and activities. And I have beautiful colleagues that I gain a lot of support from them. So we support each other along this time, and we make people laugh. And this is the most important things, that we make people laugh, and we also highlight some issues related to environment and literacy and also bullying and stuff like this. So I love being a clowning, although I'm not like doing much now with them, but I really enjoyed being a clown for many years.
Oh, Dima, don't stop. You shouldn't stop.
I am a clown in nature, when I'm, don't worry.
Tab, I have this question. How did performing as a clown, now you're saying you're a real clown, how did this feed into your work, into I don't know, storytelling I can see, but maybe into your illustrations, for example.
Well, I did once an article about clowning and what is it, because I was like upset every time that in the media they described the bad politics as a clown, and was like, no, don't insult us. Right? They're not clowns. So I wrote an article, The Art to Be a Fool, and I drew some illustration with it.
Is your article accessible online?
Yes, it is.
Where,
Yeah.
through your website or just?
No, it is Khatt 30.
KHATT 30.
Yes, and it's called The Art of Being a Fool.
Nice.
And in the article, I explained because like psychologically, clowning helped me a lot by explaining the real effect of how clowning helps us as people to be proud of our weakness as much as our strength, and how this weakness can be used to be a foolish clown, which and that would result for more laughs and more fun at work. And I was like also like reflecting on the role of clowning, that it is uprooted in history. So in the Romanian and also Islamic nation, there was this person who always like criticized the Khalifa or the king with his jokes. And the Khalifa would be like happy with him and maybe reward him because he was like insulting him at a certain point. But that is okay. So the clown is this person that can say whatever comes to their minds, and they are okay to do that because it is their job. So it is more important that what it is now, like a stereotype to be a clown, that is a negative aspect. But if you look back to history, you will know that clowning is something very important, and it is, you know, it's link the people to the government at a certain point, and this is what we want to do. So we aim to do. So once we had our election list as a clowns, while the parliament elections is taking place. So we used the slogans that the political parties used, and we just like changed a little bit of them and make like a joke from them, and it went viral, the election, that and we were elected by the people. Eventually.
Definitely, this is so smart. Using comics and humor to overcome censorship and oppression is really something that we need to do more research about. Really interesting within the context.
That also happened like when I drew a comic, when I got the Lebanese nationality, about like I did like a small comics with Gene, you know, Gene Media.
Yes, a kid.
And it was about like, okay, I'm now a Lebanese, so I can and just like I'm making a comparison of like the rights that I would have as a Lebanese woman in Lebanon, and the rights I would have as a Syrian woman in Syria. And eventually I find out that, okay, it is a good nationality, but I'm not gaining much. And it's also like, it's also like a way to reflect in a humor way on the situation of Syrians in Lebanon, and the and the political and the social aspect in Lebanon, on the Lebanese themselves, like what right they have and what they don't. So, but using humor makes it easy to pass and to be read.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, so what is it about your work that you find most difficult, the challenges?
Talking about very harsh situations. So I worked on many projects that is related to detainees and forced disappeared in Syria, for example. And on another example, I had to draw a booklet for our, like a report about the martyrs in the martyrs from the medical staff in Syria. And so if I want to, the most difficult aspect for me is drawing dead people at a certain point, and all the stories about their death. So I felt I owe their families to make them beautiful. Yani I owe them to make them beautiful and look in a beautiful way, and I owe their families this as well, for them to remember their beloved ones in a beautiful way. So it was with an organization called Psalms, and I did drew 12 characters, and it was very difficult for me, but eventually I think they were beautiful.
Yeah. It's so surreal to say that, you've been drawing that and it's beautiful. It's just too powerful for me.
And now I'm working on a big project that is also shadow puppet and storytelling, but it is from the stories of resistance by the detainees or former detainees. So I need to find also this tools to make these stories not as harsh as are they for the audience, but also not to make it flowery and unrealistic. So I need to find the balance between the two and make the story using maybe the mythology, using fantasy, and a lot of art and visualization to tell the
Address
story.
these topics, definitely. Why do you feel that what you do is important or of great relevance today?
I'm advocating for many causes that needs to be more vocal, amplifying the voices of many. For example, the issue of the forced disappears and the detainees is not finished yet. There is a lot of things to do and a lot of work. So I support them, and this is a way to support their demands from the new government. Also, it is very important to highlight in many topics the resistance of the people, and because it is lost with the media and the trends and the scoops that media is highlighting every day, but not really showing the importance of the human beings and their work and the daily stories that reflect their resistance in their own land. So I hope that I'm helping to reflect on these issues and topics, and I'm hoping that I'm helping people to remember and maybe the new generation to see and understand. So yeah, it's a wish.
So here you're starting to answer my next question, that is, what would you like your legacy to be? By that I mean, how would you like to be remembered?
It is a very difficult question because, to be honest, we as a human beings, we hope to be known globally, but and as an artist as well. But my most concern is to be known by the Syrians and the locals, let's say, yani by the people in the region that I represent their stories, to help in highlighting the importance of the art, such as illustration and shadow puppetry and story, to revive them. The illustration is underestimated art. I think this is like in our countries because it's not like something that people usually put in their houses as decoration. It's not commercial. But it is a very important art because, especially in the Gaza events, many illustrators use their mediums to talk about to talk about Palestine. I use that to talk about Syria mostly, but also about topics in Lebanon and Palestine. And so it is very important medium of art. And also to help reviving shadow puppetry as a authentic and cultural medium of art is very important, as well as the storytelling. So yeah, hopefully.
So what do you imagine will be important in illustration, in animation, in shadow puppetry in the coming 10 to 20 years? Yeah, I mean, now with the increasing use of the social media, I don't know, all these chat GPT, what's going to happen with the profession like shadow puppetry, for example?
I think like shadow puppetry along the world is an important art, and it is recognized. And there are a lot of projects that I follow, and I see that it's beautiful. It's developed, and but they kept the essence of the art itself. So I hope in the 10, 20 years that shadow puppetry will have this status in our countries. And I think it will happen because now Syria will be more open for a new wave of art, hopefully. And I'm working on it. And there is a lot of people who understands the importance of such art. There is a big challenge on having the AI now and the digitalizing of the art. I'm an old schooler, so I prefer to hold things within my hand and sense the pen on the paper. I call for to have this mixation between the digital and the real drawing, because it is smart to use technology to make your project, but also it is important to have the sensorial feeling of you are doing. It is more therapeutic than the digital and using computers. Yani it is like, I think like it is a wave, but there's still people that are going back to the lands and the agriculture instead of living in technology. I think we will keep our connection with such kind of arts because it's important, because it's more human.
Definitely. What are you working on right now, or any plans in the future, that you would like to share with us today?
Yeah, I'm working on 2015. It's called the project 2015, and as I mentioned it before, it is collecting stories from former detainees about their resistance in detention and form it in a big tale, in a performance, shadow puppetry performance and storytelling, using music and songs from all the world that were sung for the freedom, from yani what we call the prison literature, adab al-sujun. So there are songs from South America, songs from Iran and the region that were sung for freedom and against the brutality of the government. So it's gonna be a mix of performance and music and songs. And hopefully I will tour with it in Lebanon at the end of this year in autumn, before hoping next to tour with it in Syria. So hopefully this is what I'm working on with a great team.
Amazing. Let us know. Let us know when and where it will take place so we can follow you and watch it.
First. Inshallah, inshallah.
Dima, any final word or thought that you would like to leave us with?
I thank you for this opportunity and interview. I think it is important to have being introduced to other artists as well through this podcast, which comes from different cultures. And I hope that art and will maintain keeping on its roots to culture and to nature in this countries, because this is the best of it, and this is why we are so stick to stay in it. So hopefully, we'll have more arts that represent us and represents our identity.
Thank you, Dima, for sharing with us your powerful stories today.
Thank you.
We're looking forward more work and basically your performances and your touring exciting events in Lebanon and Syria. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmine.
Thank you for listening. This was Khatt Chronicles, design stories from the Arab world.